Get ready to play hardball in the Kingdome.
Take me to the ball game. I want to see the Ants. The Mariners are playing hardball. Did it again and again and again. Did it again.
Princess Tours, the vacation company, brings you the best show in baseball when the San Diego Chicken plays hardball with the Seattle Mariners and the Baltimore Orioles tonight in the Kingdome.
What up? This is Myron, and you are listening or watching the Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast, that down on the docks on the other side of the tracks, 5-star dive bar podcast of and about the Seattle Mariners that you're listening again, wherever the hell you're getting this action from. We're not going to judge you as long as you're liking and subscribing and all those good things you should be doing to help out the podcast. Also, if you're checking us out on YouTube, hit us with one of those subscribes. That helps the show out quite a bit. Also, if you want that street cred for rocking the rye bread, hit up at simply.cora. That's at simply.cora. Also hit up in the clutch apparel. You've seen lots of the shirts people are wearing around. You go, where the hell did you get that weird, iconic, ironic Mariner shirt? In the clutch. And no matter if the roof is open or closed, the bar at Tacos and Tequila and the kitchen are always open. Make that your pre and post game stops. All right, we're going to get right into it. We got a fun episode. Mariners coming off a winning series, winning 3 out of 4, but it could have possibly been getting swept the other way. Yeah. Am I already starting off glass half empty? Yeah. Well, it should be full. They took 3 of 4 from Chicago, heading into a big series, a big AOS showdown, trying to make some of that separation like we talked about with the Texas Rangers this weekend in Seattle. And here to discuss this with me, Hanno up in Edmonds. What's going on, Hanno?
Yo, what up?
What up? It's kind of a late start for us, right? For this recording, a 4-game series, getaway game, going into extra innings. It was almost dark by the time it ended today.
Yeah, they just couldn't score, couldn't hit. Story of this series, some freaking just amazing walk-offs. Cal Raleigh, just a fucking stud. I mean,
stud muffin.
And then Haniger. Other than that, it was pretty pitiful with the bats. Go Roberts, come on, we need somebody. Jesus.
I mean, let's go back to Cal. I mean, you can kind of see him here in our background. We'll make this. I was thinking of what should be our cover for the episode. There's all kinds of things. We got the wake and bake thing after following us here at the end of our little Mariners update. We've had all the games, the walk-offs you've talked about, but it's got to be Buhner Buzzcut, especially with Cal Raleigh getting the buzz cut. So add that to his resume of things he's done this week.
Yeah, and he's a Mariner, the guy. I mean, tough behind the plate, clutch, and on his off day goes and gets a Buhner buzz cut. What a guy.
Then ends up having to play as well.
Yeah, because they were down. They needed clutch Cal.
Yeah, they needed clutch Raleigh, as we like to call him. So, just to briefly go over this series so we can get into the fun part of, well, I guess I'm not going to downplay what we're doing here, but we do have the Wake and Bake baseball episode from today, the best of it, that we just put on the end of this episode. You guys should check that out. Every Thursday, we're going to be doing that, the 10 o'clock or morning games, whether the Mariners are in it or not. We're going to be kind of watching baseball, talking league-wide stuff with our good friend Vladimir Perez, actor, director, DJ, all-around entertainer, great improver. His only bad thing is he is a Skankies fan, but he's from New York. He just did the episode today out in Connecticut, and his buddy Dan, who's a Baltimore Orioles fan, another great improviser, was on the show today. So we got to talk a little bit of their perspective on the Mariners, our perspective on what's going on over there. It's a fun episode, wouldn't you say, Hanno?
Yeah, I look forward to listening to it. What you told me, it sounds really exciting. Can't wait to check it out.
Yeah, well, you can check it out right after we pop this one out. So you're in luck. So back to the Mariners this series, like I said here in the intro, I got kind of like because we lost this last game, so I couldn't come on here full peaches and cream. I'll take the 3 out of 4. I'm not mad at that at all, but it is a little bit scary. The Chicago White Sox, you say what you want about them, they played the Mariners hard, and this could have easily been a 4-game sweep by Chicago. I mean, the Mariners had to come back in every single one of these. Well, the third game it was knotted up there, but you know what I'm saying.
That's straight facts, homie. I mean, the margin for error with this team is very thin, as we know, and the Mariners play close, tight games. Their pitching gets them through it. Their hitting just doesn't come through, and it's the way it's going to be if, they don't go out and get somebody to jumpstart this team. But even in the case of that, I mean, they strike out a lot. That's just how they are. That's how they're built. So I'm just thinking we're going to have to live with it.
We're going to have to live with this sickness. There's no fixing it all of a sudden. I mean, last week we did kind of have a stretch of games there where we only struck out 7, 8 times, and most teams would be like, it's kind of a lot in a game. For us, that's a good day of work. But here's a stat going back to the beginning of the series. Logan Gilbert. I think going into this game, it was. Now I got this from Aaron Goldsmith when I was listening on the radio. Going into that game, in his last 7 starts, while he's pitching, not for the entire game, but while he is pitching, the Mariners had only scored 4 runs, and I don't think they scored a single run for him. I believe he was out of the game before they activated Chaos Ball. So in his last 8 starts, the Mariners have averaged a half a run while he's into the game.
Poor Logan.
While he's in the game.
Yeah, that's just a rough go for him. I mean, he usually gives up 1, maybe 2 mistakes a game, and it's just too much, unfortunately. I mean, maybe he should start getting into the building earlier and start getting in the cage and help himself out. I don't know, if asking, what are you doing? And he'll say, I need some more run support,
Yeah, somebody's got to score me some runs, and I guess I got to do it myself. I'm going Ohtani on your ass. Yeah. I mean, you gotta imagine he's, like you said, I think the other day ago, you gotta wonder if he's like calling, maybe not other teammates, but friends and families, the people that you vent to, right? Whether it's about a relationship or work or whatever, and going, I'm getting no fucking help. Or maybe it's his agent. No, he's a great team player. I don't think he's even really worried about that. But you got to get a bit irritated about it. I mean, the ghost of Felix Hernandez's run support runs so strong. Those vibes run so strong for Felix. Last year, I believe it was Luis Castillo was the guy getting hammered with that last year. This year, it seems like it's Logan. I mean, they all get hit with it a little bit, but half a run in 2 months of pitching, that's rough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the answer for this team. I mean, hitting wise, mentions it every night. We saw the ball well tonight. We didn't strike out as much, like you said, when we only have single digits in strikeouts. But it's just tough. You see these guys in the end of the game, Cal and Haniger, they just fought their way. Especially Haniger fought off pitches just to get that hit. Just grinded that at bat out in Game 3. I mean, I wonder if they could do a little bit more of that throughout the game to maybe help them put the ball in play, because they're getting nothing when they're not putting the ball in play. I mean, I'm Captain Obvious Ron Fairley here, but man, it's tough to watch sometimes.
Speaking of Ron Fairley, if you listen to the Wake and Bake, you will hear some Ron Fairley excerpts actually on there, because we're going over a brawl that happened between Baltimore and Seattle in 1993. Anyways, back to today or this week. Here's a positive. The Mariners are scoring runs late. They are getting that chaos ball back that we've known and loved, and the Mariners are still, with this 1-run loss, still the best team in baseball. I think we're 16-7, so 9 games over 500 when it comes to 1-run games. Houston, Texas is the worst. So it goes to show you what it goes to show you how strong of a team you can be when you can rattle off these one-run victories. Billy Ripken, Fuckface himself. If you want to know why I call him Fuckface, go look up the error card. The baseball collectors will understand why I use that profanity right there. Billy Ripken was talking about on MLB Network today that, hey, the Mariners are built for these playoff series. And I agree, but we still got to get there. But the other teams that we are going to be competing with, let's just say it started today. You know, you look at the Yankees, you look at the Royals that we just played, Baltimore, all of these teams can run into or walk into a 3-run home run at any point. Mariners have not activated that.
No, they haven't. And you mentioned it, and especially against the starting pitching, like you said. I mean, they have been really good lately, getting after these teams' bullpens, and that's been huge. I mean, that's a positive for sure. Seeing some good things out of Garver coming around a little bit to me. You saw some pop and got the game going from Canzone. So you're seeing some guys making the strides forward. But yeah, they don't give up, and they're taking advantage when they get the starter out of the game.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get those early runs like they were doing the week before and the week before that, but then they would kind of just get quiet the rest of the game or until the next game. So yeah, you just haven't been able to put a full consistent game together. Again, Captain Obvious Ron Fairley statement right there. Fun positives. We saw Locklear get his first MLB home run. It was kind of like if NBA finals are going on right now. It was definitely like one of those, if it was basketball, one of the balls that goes around the rim and then kind of just finally falls in. That thing was going across the rail. Or in hockey, what would you call that? Pole to pole biscuit, a little rolling going across the line right there, the goal line today with that home run.
Yeah, it danced on the top of the wall. I mean, for your first home run, that's just like, get over the fence,
Yeah.
happy for him.
Yeah, I did hear his interview where he was watching that whole thing. Here's the plus side, though. I think it rolled over to the Mariners bullpen side where it was going over to the Chicago side. He didn't have to send somebody searching for it. He got the ball back. We also saw again the pitching in this series was great by the Mariners. You saw Munoz get back out there. One of the balls gets through the infield today with the way the rules are, but the Mariners could not convert, could not get a single off of that lefty that was out there. I forgot the guy's name already. Was it Tanner or something? That was a nice lefty. Chicago does have a few really good pitchers, it seems like, going for them as bad as their season is going.
I mean, they do. They or yeah, I mean, they shut down the Mariners like we've been talking about for a lot of the games. But nice to see Julio come up and smack one over the fence to put in an extra innings.
Oh.
Really exciting. He was pumped. I felt like we were gonna win that game for some reason, but I don't know. Weird play third. Rojas maybe could have went to second for the double play, possibly. I don't know. Maybe could have went home. Had a bunch of people's comments, and some people thought they could have gotten him, and then some people I saw that were at the game said there was no chance at home. So I'll go with those people that were in attendance. But it just looked like he might have had some time to get him there and cut him off at the plate. But that could have maybe changed the outcome of that ninth inning. But it's hard to sweep a team in a 4-game series.
Tanner Banks was the name of that pitcher, and actually he's part of that Bach trade that people were talking about. Speaking of the trade, I know the other day we were a little like, ooh, that's kind of a stiff ask. We were also going, God, Chicago's crazy asking for Juan Soto style returns like the Nationals asked from the Padres. But then you watch him in this series and he hits 3 home runs. in this ballpark that a lot of hitters don't want to hit in. To me, I've definitely warmed up. I've listened to what a lot of the pro uh Luis Robert Jr. people have had to say. I'm liking this guy. You know, he's got 60 at bats this season, and he's got 6 home runs. So in a 600, at bat season, he's on pace for 60. But can he stay on the field, right? So that's always kind of been the thing with him. What did you see from him, and what were you most impressed about?
That T-Mobile Park is a non-factor for him.
There you go. That's exactly those are my sentiments as well.
The ballpark means nothing to him. So, I mean, just a powerful hitter. Even on his outs, I mean, he smoked one in the 6 hole. JP had to make a diving one-hop throw over to first base. I mean, he's got some exit velocity, and he can get the ball in the air and get it out easily at T-Mobile Park. I mean, it might take a haul, but man, put that kind of bat in our lineup, I think it'd be really exciting, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and in this window again of this historic pitching that we have going on right now, it's I know you don't want to give away the future, but can you bank on that you're going to have pitching like this again? We've kind of had this for a while. How long is that going to last? Luis Robert, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at the Mariners if they ended up just stopping him right there at Boeing Field or SeaTac or Everett, wherever they're taking off on that charter flight down to Arizona, and being like, and sign right here. Let's you take that plane full of prospects with you. I wouldn't be upset about it. I'm anticipating, like you are, what is going to happen at the deadline, and we'll get more into that on these next episodes. But Luis Robert Jr. would be a great fit for the Mariners. And another thing in this series, we also saw Wu get scratched. We saw Diaz come up, give the Mariners a good chance to win that game. They ended up winning that game. And we also saw the return of Emerson Hancock here, which was a move to just give everybody a rest and set up yourself right for Texas, right? We got Luis Castillo going, then Kirby, then Logan Gilbert.
Yeah, and it's going to be maybe a sellout weekend for the Mariners facing Texas. That's awesome. The fans are coming out. I know Sunday's a sellout, and Friday and Saturday are very close, so that's awesome. The Mariners are playing well in first place, and the fans are coming out to see them. Good to hear that the Wu MRI, there's nothing wrong with that, like you mentioned. And yeah, good to get Mooney back. Sounds like Ty will be ready to come off the DL here, and when he's done with his 10 days. And then Polanco, it sounds like he might be ready here soon. I'm curious to see how when Spire's coming back. I didn't hear. Maybe they mentioned that during the press conference. I missed it, but starting to get a little bit healthier again now, and we'll see what happens. That's good news, though, especially about Wu. And you mentioned Hancock. I mean, guy just came out and got after him, just threw 2 cookies that got knocked out of the yard back to back. I mean, he just missed his spot. Other than that, he was fantastic.
Yeah, all of these pitchers, including Logan on Monday, gave you a chance to win. You win 3 of 4. You win 4 out of the last 5. Headed into a series with we're looking at it right now. You got a 5.5 game separation happening between you and the Texas Rangers. Astros 8 games back. The Mariners, if they can win 2 out of 3 out of here, pushing back to 6.5. But if you can sweep this series, we're talking 8.5.
Yeah, it would be massive. I mean, and a good statement to the rest of the West, and especially Texas. I mean, we know, or at least I think, those teams behind us predominantly add, and they probably think they can catch us. They'll get healthy with their pitching. They might add, and once the deadline happens, we've seen it with our team. Teams take off, so it would certainly be a nice statement series for us against the Rangers. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it seems like the Mariners and the Rangers have been kind of mirroring each other in games. When the Mariners were losing, the Rangers were losing. When the Mariners were winning, they were winning. They actually picked up a game on us so far this week, but the Mariners did balloon it up to 6.5 there.
Oh, so they took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers then, huh?
Yes, apparently so. So, I mean, they're playing decent baseball right now. It should be a good series. We got, the matchups again. You got Luis Castillo going on Friday night here. Let me pull that up. Luis Castillo and Heaney. Saturday, you got Evaldi. We've seen a lot of him. He's had some success against the Mariners, I believe. Him and Kirby are locking it up, and Dunning and Gilbert on Sunday. So those are your matchups. Do you know anything about any of these other two starters? I really don't know too much except for about Evaldi.
Yeah, I remember. I think Dunning's the guy with the glasses, I believe. But those guys, those are 2 wins. Hopefully, we should get, like you mentioned, Evaldi will be the game that we could see the Mariners having more trouble with out of those 3. But it'll be interesting. They're gonna be tight games, I would imagine. Yeah, I mean, they're all tight games as we watch through this season. But like you said, with these 1-run wins, I mean, it's very reminiscent of a couple years ago when we were the best at that, and that propelled us into the playoffs. So kind of a repeat of a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was a big difference. Last year we were not very good at these
No.
1-run games, and that makes a huge difference. Just pulled up right here if you're watching. Just want to jump back into the Buhner Buzzcut. I think that is so. I'm so happy they brought this back, and not only that, I believe his whole family came up with him. He threw out his first pitch to one of his sons. His son, who's playing for the Oakland A's farm system down in the DR, shaved his head today. But it's just good to see this relationship. It seemed like we didn't see much of Jay Buhner, and then we started to see him more last year with the All-Star game and the celebrity softball game, and then now we get Buhner Buzzcut night, which has not happened in what, I know it's a 30-year anniversary, but it's been at least 20 some odd years since they've done this.
Yeah, I think it was appropriate and cool that they brought it back for the 30-year anniversary. I like it, all this stuff and the nostalgia from this and those players back in that era in 95. And I mean, I get why some fans get upset about talking about 95, tired of it. They want new memories. They want, the team to succeed now. And I'm with that. I'm all about that. But I also really like this throwback stuff. I mean, the Mariners don't have too many iconic moments on the field, or as many iconic players that are still around the organization. So I think it was a really cool idea, and it's always good to see Jay, and he was a hoot in the booth, wasn't he?
Oh my gosh. If you guys have not, I know it's a game you're like, I don't want to go back and scroll through a game that we lost, Myron. But okay, I feel you. Meet us halfway, right, Hannah? Go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Watch the whole bottom of the 3rd inning.
Or the whole 3rd. He's on the TV broadcast, but the bottom of the 3rd's the best.
Yes, he definitely. It came to a crescendo. It definitely just. And Jay Buhner just kind of was like, "Fuck it," And Sebi Zavala got rung up. They started talking about the umpires. And they went around and they zoomed in on the umpire. I forgot the guy. Do you know the umpire's name? I forgot his name.
I think it's Cucciani or something like that.
Cucciani, and he must have been around when Jay was around, because he goes, he didn't have a good game the other day. Or I don't want to say this, but I don't want to say he had a bad year or just in general. I don't really like the guy, I think is what he basically said. And then he talked about if he was commissioner, he would rig some of these guys up. And if that guy didn't like what he had to say, he'd be outside he could meet him outside the stadium. He's basically, and I was watching it and I called you and I actually turned the captions on because there's a lot going on in the booth. I returned the captions on, watched it 3 times, like, yep, he said that, called you up, and I was like, you gotta go watch this inning right now. Classic stuff. Also, just wanted to throw some Jay Buhner Buzzcut stats that I saw in the post game. Here's some fun stats. Today, 620, or on Thursday, 620 people participated. 437 heads shaved. Out of that, there were 7 women's heads shaved. This is the 8th year of the event, so it hasn't. When did it start?
94.
So it was like basically 94 through 02. So fans participated in all these years altogether, 22,922. So it's 22,922, just short of 2,300. Out of that, 19,828 heads have been shaved. Out of those, 305 women. 183 fans also arrived today bald already. So I don't know what happened. Obviously, me and Hanno still got our mullets going on, so we were not there. But I'm just glad they had a spot. And hey, that's a great little spot that they used over there across the street. I think when they were doing it at the Kingdom, they didn't have no Hatback Bar and Grill. I think it was just out in like the North parking lot or something like that.
That's exactly where it was. Come to the
Yeah.
North parking lot, get a buzz, and we'll bring you in.
Well, I'm excited for this weekend. We'll be back doing more Mariner talk this Sunday night. You'll get a Monday morning if you're just into the pod. Is there anything else that you got to add from this series? I think I shout out to the pitching again, and we forgot to mention this. The bunt. How big was that goddamn bunt by Luke Raley? What a great player to have on the team.
Yeah, I mean, I love the bunt. I'm not saying I'm a small ball type player, but in certain situations, and a guy that can get it down with speed and keep the defense off balance, love it. It's baseball.
Yeah.
It's some different strategy that's kind of gone away from the game. I mean, it's nice to see Julio, since you mentioned that, swiping bags again. I mean, getting the running game in motion. So exciting stuff.
Yeah, and like you're hearing our usual outro music here. The show's just a little bit under a half an hour, and you're like, whoa. Still got an hour more on here. That's right. If you didn't hear me at the top, we got today's Wake and Bake baseball that we're going to put here at the end. And there's quite a bit of Mariners talk. In fact, I'm actually defending Julio Rodriguez. A family member when, Vladdy Daddy, kind of going after him a little bit. We also talk a little bit about the Baltimore Orioles and the Yankees, and are they scared of the Mariners right now, and what kind of trades we should be talking about. We're also talking about that fight back in 1993. We'll actually have some sound bites from that. Mike Mussina hitting Bill Hasselman. But the significance of this fight is how vicious it is. And you can check it out on YouTube or watch it here on our YouTube channel. We pirated it in. But there's so many Mariners, Orioles, and Yankees that kind of just circulated around on all the teams in the 90s in this brawl. We also, you remember Jeffrey Mayer? The guy that reached over in the 96 playoffs and got the home run. This is pre-social media, umpire reviews and things like that. We talk a bit about that and just seeing like what the Mariners need to do, what these guys, national guys, think about what the Mariners need to do, what they should have. It's a fun episode. It's, wake and bake baseball. Doesn't mean you got to get stoned. You could be baking. You could, like I said, you could be waking. You could be waking. You could be baking. Tammy Faye Baker in it. Dusty Baker in it. All right, now I'm done. Yeah, it's a fun episode. Hope you stick around for that. If not, Hanno, you know what time it is. For a break and come right back and check out Wake and Bake Baseball.
Yeah, cut it.
No,
I used to like it.
Now I
I
can
used
hear.
to like it. Now it's making me sick.
Now I can hear what was going on. It sounds like there's a waterfall going on behind you.
Is there?
Yeah, it's some sort of air conditioner, something, and whatever. You got the sweat towel out, so I don't know what you need the sweat towel if you get the AC going.
Well, it's humid out here.
So
Yeah, it's actually nice though.
Great. So you're back east. You guys just went to the most talked about as far as powerhouse baseball weekend. You guys went and saw your New York Yankees and the LA Dodgers, a throwback to the 80s World Series, a throwback to the 1930s, 40s, 50s. Is it still a big deal out there when they come to town?
I mean, kind of. I think now it just has more to do with them being like, just having a stacked lineup and taking a play out of the Yankees playbook and just had like the run they've been on and acquiring players. Excuse me, and that, and I think it was a bigger deal for Dodgers fans to come out there. So, I mean, when the Yankees are doing their thing, we're out no matter what. So.
Yeah, it seemed. I saw some videos. I'm gonna try to find these. I have them somewhere here. Where the basically the Yankees. I don't know if it was a Saturday game or the Friday game, but it seemed like they took over Yankee Stadium, and there's all these videos of them going down the street with the ambulance and all this kind of crazy shit.
With the police escort.
Yes.
I mean, the talk here is that it was organized. It was a whole organized thing of people like, hey, let's all plan on going together from social media. So like, they just mobilized and also paid for and planned out having that escort.
Some kind of TikTok shit or something like that.
Well, I just, Facebook's just a place to, on all these chats, like, hey, we're organizing a big trip. Oh.
Let's go Dodgers. Woo, woo.
I guess it's not that hard to organize something like that with the police escort. Like, hey, we're going to have 4,000 people with us. Can we plan something like this out?
Yeah, I thought this was like at first I thought it was like a free Palestine march outside the stadium. Like, oh no, that's Dodgers fans just
yeah, I mean, a good point I heard somebody make on the Michael K show is like the Yankee fans show up to every other stadium without any organization whatsoever. So it looks a lot. It looks like a social media stunt.
Yeah,
it scared me. I was like, "Oh shit!" And then when I got there, it wasn't that bad at all.
I don't think we don't really have a Mariners group like that. I just think people to show up. There's lots of like Mariners Facebook groups and things like that, but I haven't seen like an organized takeover at all. I don't think we've gotten to that level yet of fandom. But my big thing last week, I guess, my field trip to a different stadium, and I know I was talking to you, was when I went down to Oakland Alameda, checked out a game, and I was sending you the videos because I decided to walk from my usual spot over at the Radisson Hotel over there. What'd you think about those videos I was sending you?
I mean, it seemed like a long walk for one.
Yeah, it's not it. Well, it's about 3/4 of a mile. Yeah. But I just wanted to check out some of the sights and sounds, see what was going on. It's progressively. Well, I go over here, but it's progressively gotten worse down there. It's it kind of reminds me of downtown Skid Row mixed with. Do you remember Hill Valley and Back to the Future when Biff takes over?
Yeah,
it's kind of like. And I know you were asking me, would you ask me when I was walking around down there? What was I looking for?
Sounds like you're really looking for fentanyl.
Yeah. Well, look, if you were looking for fentanyl, here's the good news / bad news. There wasn't any. I'm pretty sure everybody in that area has done it all. But obviously, A's stadium ranked the worst. I mean, it's look, people want to knock that stadium, but it is a classic stadium in a sense. It's from the 60s. There's been championships. There's been the shit that the LA Raiders / sorry, the Oakland
I've
Raiders.
always liked their looks. I've always liked the hat, the name.
Right.
My favorite fantasy team I named of mine was the Smokeland A's.
But we're going to try to be doing this every Thursday. Basically, come on here. We're going to have the morning games. Vlad's going to always have his wake and bake parlay picks. Our goal is probably to start this podcast before the games start, which might be maybe a better idea. But you also can jump in live into games. You jumped into a game this week live and were victorious. But tell them about what happened this week.
Well, it's really, to be honest, it's a really stupid thing to do. But every once in a while, you could just kind of like take a look at a game in that moment and be like, well, this team stinks. Or they don't have the bullpen. You might not believe in them, and I took the Mariners down by 3.
Yeah,
and then they immediately went down by 4.
Yeah, and then I
texted you. Yeah, I was like, "Hey, do you believe?" I didn't actually wait. I asked you, and I didn't wait for your answer before I put it in. And then when you hit me back, you're like, "No." You're like, "Once the Mariners are down, it's over."
I said, "Yeah." I think the quote I have to eat hat in hand, Mariners fans, if you're listening, is he goes, "They're down 4." What he said, and I think it was like the 7th. And I go, "That's a death sentence." and yeah, look, they are playing the Chicago White Sox, so like if they were going to do it, they were going to do it. Yeah, then they scored technically 8 unanswered runs in the last 2 innings. I didn't even
watch the game, so I kind of went back to what I was doing.
Yeah, the Mariners.
The next text I got from you was that it's a tie game, and I was like, "Oh, here it is."
I mean, yeah, we beat him. We actually beat him.
So did we, but he's also just getting shelled every other night.
Actually, we didn't beat him. He shut us down. I'll take that back. And then we took out whoever else came in.
We got him early. It was crazy because when the Yankees opened up against the Astros, it was nuts because it was basically a 3-game playoff to start the season. And that's exactly how it felt. And it didn't look like – it looked like, oh, we just beat them. But that's actually who they ended up being for the rest of the year. Like we just thought, nobody knew they were that shitty now.
We got 4-time Gold Glove winners, 3-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger. And look, the reason why I bleached my hair back in the 2000s. What's up, Brett?
I love it. I love it. You had the hair, huh?
That was like my college look.
That was my thing. My kids still tease me about it. They said, "Dad, why don't you go bleach your hair?" I said, "Dad's getting a little old for that." I said, "That was just a phase I went through. It was kind of a shtick." And I used to tell people when I'd bleach my hair, I'd say, the city expects it. So just don't worry about it. Get out of my way. Every 3 weeks, I had my routine.
Did you get your hair done by somebody here?
I did. No, I did. I had a young lady who would come to the ballpark, actually, and I had a barber chair. It was a hair bleaching station. And there was a couple guys on the Mariners that would get it done, too. But every 3 weeks, she would come in. We had a little office space off the clubhouse, and I'd get it done. So that was fun. That brings back pretty cool memories.
All right, we're back here on Wake and Bake Baseball. We got our first guest of the day. What's going on, Dan?
What's going on? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you got
man.
Yeah, you got the one that got the live game going on right now. You got a 2-0 deficit. It looks like here to the TBS Superstation Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, we took them last night. I don't know about today. Let's see what happens.
Baltimore.
So we got a Baltimore guy and we got a Yankees guy here. So how has this been a contentious baseball relationship between the two of you guys?
Until recently, it hasn't had a chance to be contentious. The Orioles have been so bad for so long. Finally, it's a competition again.
Yeah, that's just the truth. I mean, there was never really anything for us to talk about when it came to that. We would just talk about baseball in general, but it wasn't like there was any. I mean, I still don't feel it. I guess it'll heat up as the year goes on, and I mean, it really has to happen. Like a playoff series is what'll set it off for me.
Yeah, when I think about the Orioles Yankees, anytime I think of that rivalry or playoffs, I always think about the ball in right field. Was it Andrew Mayer incident?
Jeffrey Mayer.
Jeffrey
I was
Mayer.
at that game.
Oh my God! All right, we got to talk about this. I'll pull up some stuff. So let's see. Here we go. I'm gonna pull this up. I know this might be triggering, Dan, but that's what we're here to. We're here to figure these
Trigger
things
you.
out. Yes, we're here to trigger you. We literally brought you on here just to fucking. Hey, look, I'm a Mariners fan, so there's plenty of triggering to go around. Let's go right here. Yeah. Oh, here's a little ad for StreamYard. That is the service we're using, which is it's mid. I'll give it that. It's but anyways, you got Derek Jeter. Of course, Derek Jeter is in the middle of this. I totally forgot.
Always there for the big moments.
Oh my God. Okay, ball's going to right field. Back to the track. Looks like he's got it. Oh, jumping up. Nobody beats the Wiz. What's Wiz? Oh, there it is. Here we go.
Electronic store.
Look at this. See, this doesn't even happen anymore. They would
believe the umpire was at the wall like that?
I know, right? Well, that's what. Well, for the playoffs, they got two guys on the line, don't they?
Yeah, he must actually run down there. He actually put some effort in.
Oh, Brady Henderson. Oh, look, he is fired up. Is that the pitcher that came all the way out to right field?
That's Armando Benitez and Davey Johnson.
Damn. I don't remember any of this.
No, you were celebrating. What are you doing right now in the stadium?
We're celebrating. I mean, where I was seated for that with my dad, we couldn't see, like, right underneath the wall there. So like we were in that section not far from there, but everybody was saying home run, and then all of a sudden everybody was starting to say, oh, some kid caught the ball. Like some people who listen to the radio while they're at the game. So it was just kind of spreading like just down the line. Some kid caught the ball.
He literally that would not even have been a home run. I don't know if he
it's
catches
so clearly inside the park too. You know what I mean? It's not like he caught it at the wall or above the wall.
No, the only thing I'd say is if it bounces off and takes a weird care, maybe Jeter's on third base, but that's about it. But so this is crazy about back then is that you didn't have social media. You couldn't just go right onto Instagram Live. You couldn't find something on it right away on Twitter. So this is just going around the stadium, like you said. It's just like people have their transistor radios listening and shit.
Yeah, just to kind of hear the pitches, and I mean, I might have done that a few times myself, but sorry, I'm still wake and baked. It was just, but I mean, yeah, you're right. It was also like I didn't have time to see everybody argue in the field. We were just, just cheering, and for me as a fan, like this was my first taste of the Yankees being good at anything and winning. So it was like,
yeah, the year before you guys
took nothing for granted in '96 because it was just like, wow, they sucked for my whole life.
The year before is when we took you guys, the Mariners. You guys lost to us Game 5 at the Kingdom, the Griffey slide, the Edgar thing. So this is like your first, like you said, you're not taking anything for granted. But I gotta say, when I look at this lineup of the Orioles, let me pull this up from 1996.
This was the last time they were good when they had Ripken and all them. And this was was their last chance, and after that, You know, it was a long time. It wasn't until the Buck Showalter era that they were good again for a little bit.
Yeah, I remember the 1997 team that you guys had, though, that the Mariners went in. I think we were heavy favorites, and you guys, I believe, just swept us first round in 97.
There's
that team-
Messina. You could always agree on Messina, right, Vlad?
Yeah.
So here you got Benitez, Rocky Coppinger, Archie Corbin, Scott Erickson, Jimmy Hayes. These are your pitchers that you had. Roger McDowell. He was a former every team. I think Angel. Was he a Yankee ever? Roger McDowell. I know
Yes.
Musino was.
He was a Met, I think.
You have Jesse Orozco. He was on every playoff team. It feels like
Also a Met for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. Lee Arthur Rhodes, former Mariner. He went back to be a Mariner after this. Sorry. He was a Oriole first, then a Mariner. David Wells, former Yankee, right there.
He was on that team?
Says right here, 1996.
Wow.
No memory of
Arthur
that.
Rhodes?
Wow.
Greg Zahn, catcher. I remember him. Chris Hoyles. Infielders, Robbie Alomar, Rafael Palmeiro, Cal Ripken. Billy Ripken was still on this team, fuckface himself. Todd Zeal, BJ Surhoff. That's a squad, but look, Brady Anderson. Is this the year Brady Anderson was like going after Roger Maris for a little bit?
I think it was earlier than this.
Maybe it was 95, 94, 95. Bobby Bonilla, Jeffrey Hammonds, Tony Tarasco. I remember he was going to be a big star, and it just never really panned all the way out. Pete Incaviglia, #1 draft pick out of college, I believe.
Yeah, he was the all-time college home run leader, I believe, when he graduated.
Wow.
And then the guy I always associate the Orioles with, Eddie Murray. What a guy.
Fashion icon. That guy never looked bad in a picture.
You guys have a lot of parody names too. B.
Like
Arthur
what?
Rhodes. B. Arthur Rhodes. Eddie Murphy. BJ Jerkoff.
Yeah.
Tony Tabasco sauce.
Tony Tarasco.
He was the guy who got robbed by Mayer. Tarasco was going to catch that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, but the Orioles this season, I mean, I saw this coming last year and the year before with the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, you guys don't even have the guy that you guys want to call King Felix this season too, and look what you guys are doing without him. So is that kind of like the thing, you know, when you're talking Oriole talk with people that you're like, oh, imagine if we had this motherfucker, because we have the kind of the same thing with Matt Brash in our bullpen, who's not playing the season.
Yeah, we already have some injuries in the starting rotation, especially that have been tough. You know, I mean, it's not the team we thought we were going to have. We're still doing all right though. I would love to get our guys up 100% because the pitching has always been a problem. And then this year we thought we had it, you know, but then you don't have Grayson Rodriguez, you don't have Means anymore. You don't have any of these guys you'd want to see up there with some injuries. So when they are back, they're not full strength. So we still got to get that back in there. I would take King Felix right now. I would take him as he is.
Yeah.
Let's get him up there.
But I feel like the Orioles this season, I mean, they are like the scary possible wild card team if you do not catch the Yankees. Both of those teams, I think they're 1 and 2 in the American League as far as strength. And then I think after that, it's, you know, as of right now, like the Mariners and Cleveland, Cleveland and Kansas City all seem like about the same level to me. And then I don't know who gets that last 6 spot.
Yeah, I think September is going to be really fun in the AL East. I think it's going to come down to the Orioles and Yankees. Maybe one of those last week type situations where everybody's watching to see what happens. I think the way the playoffs are set up now, we wouldn't play each other in the first round, right? There's 2 wild cards, I guess. So.
I don't think the like you do like you play your own division rival, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So we would have to go through one of these other AL teams to meet. And I think we would do okay. I think even whichever way we come out, I could see the AL Championship Series being the Yankees and the Orioles.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but the Central just never really has, a team that can actually like face off against a big team. At least recently. I know the Royals won 7 years ago or something like that, but
I think Cleveland is always pesky. I think they
pesky for
can always
sure.
put up a good fight.
Pesky for sure, but I feel like we always play them, and even like even a weak Yankees 2022 team.
Yeah, I think
could take them
Cleveland's
out.
Cleveland's a bit surprising to me this year. They do have some good pieces, but a bit surprising. They got a brand new manager too, as well. He was our bullpen coach last year in Seattle. Total asshole. Asked him to come on listen to my whole pitch about coming on my other podcast, and he goes, and I had my card, and he goes, "No, I'm good." And then he totally fucking burned me. And I was like, who the fuck is talking to bullpen coach? The next thing you know, he's the manager of the Cleveland Guardians. And I was all right. But let's look at your guys' schedule coming up here. You got the Yankees next week. You guys got a tough schedule right now. You guys are Braves, the Phillies, Yankees. Are the Houston Astros dead? Then you're playing Cleveland, and then you're playing the former World Series champion. So we're really going to see what the Orioles are made of this month. That is a schedule.
We got a lot of home games. That's helpful. But yeah, I think I want to win 2 out of 3 of those games in New York. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you guys already beat us this year. Took the series, right?
Is the series already settled this quick?
No. But I mean, like the first series that we've had.
Yes. Yeah.
3-1.
It was a 4-game series, right?
Yeah. Was it 3-1 or 2-2? I'm pretty sure it was 3-1.
I remember taking it.
Yeah.
Well, today, Dan, you're not at the ballpark. You were missing out on Orioles T-shirt day. Coming up here, I'm looking ahead to this Rangers series. You got. Oh, actually, let's go to the Cleveland series. What is the Burke's Live hot dog race? Was Burke's a hot dog brand?
I don't know that one. I never heard of Burke's Live. I don't know what that is.
Well, if that doesn't entice you, how about 90s rock, 98 rock night, 1998.
Specifically 1998, exactly.
It's specific. It says 98 rock night.
Wow.
So
that's the year I graduated high school.
I think that's
those my jams right there.
Yeah, I bet if there was they got to just throw in the now that's what I call music volumes 1 and 2. Oh, and you know what? Your schedule doesn't even get that much easier going into July. Mariners right off top. Then you get A's. Then you get the Cubs. But they're I believe right up there. No, they're not. The Brewers are number 1. Cubs, that's kind of a lighter schedule, and then the Yanks right before the All-Star break. So,
where's the All-Star game this year, by the way?
Arlington, Texas.
Oh, nice.
I don't understand how that works now with remember, it used to be American League, National League, but then I think when they took the game out of Atlanta, it kind of screwed some shit up. Because then I remember they kept they kept it they took it to Colorado. I don't understand. I think maybe they might have gotten rid of that. I think it's just whoever wants to pay the most fucking money gets it, kind of like the Super Bowl or WrestleMania.
Well, isn't it all shared? Does it matter? I mean, isn't it all profit sharing? Does it matter where the game is? I mean, I know for the ratings, but I guess.
No, but I meant the city. The city bids on it for all of
business.
Yes.
Economic influence.
Yeah. We have a comment here. It says, "Sweep Texas, please." Another question: would the Orioles YouTuber be scared to face the Mariners in the playoffs?
No. Only because I feel good about the Orioles right now. I'm not too worried about the Mariners. I feel like if Julio was on his game, maybe I don't know. How's he doing lately? I feel like he was struggling earlier.
Well,
He's
I mean,
hitting a little.
when I define struggling with him, it's kind of unfair because he's hitting 270. He's hitting the ball hard. He's getting single. He's playing decent defense. Gets a little wild on the base pass, but the power numbers aren't there. The superstar, throw the team on my back, Julio, has not arrived yet this season. But as far as
he's not doing any damage.
Yeah, there's nothing to be. Let's just pull him up. Let's break him down. Let's break him down for this listener.
I want to get a barf bag handy.
Wow. Did you have him on your fantasy team? This sounds like
no, I don't. But I watch. I'm
very disappointed with him.
I'm the kind of person who loves statistics and like people's numbers and what they should have, or and I just being close to you, of you being happy to have somebody who's seemingly a superstar, but like at some point and I know it takes time too. I mean,
let's look at it. It's like,
well, he got signed. Don't forget, he got signed to a multi-year deal after his first year in the league.
But it's friendly to him and friendly to
but still, I mean, it's just like the average guy's got to put together a solid couple years of to get that type of reward. So I mean, that's just I don't think he's like some guy who doesn't give a shit and is just getting fat or whatever, but it's just something to think about.
Well, here's the thing. Julio, look, 276 at bats, 33 runs, 74 hits. So he's got 74 hits. So he leads the team in hits, I believe. 5 home runs. That's what you're disappointed in. The 25 RBIs. That's what you're disappointed. That's a whole Mariner problem right there. 16 stolen bases. That's good. Stolen bases are back, but the 268 average, you really can't get on somebody for hitting 268, but it's the OPS at 662. His first 2 seasons, he's an 800 OPS guy. So that's what's down. And of course, if you're a fantasy owner and a stat guy like Vlad, it's he's
5 home runs.
He's underperforming, but he has been. I'll give you this though. He has been more clutch this year. Look at all the numbers that he had last year.
But we're talking 2.5 months. We're just right around 2.5 months of the season.
He's a legit
5 home runs.
Sure. Yeah, I know. I agree. I talk about this on the pod all the time.
That hurts.
But he is traditionally a slow starter. So we got to see what he does here in June. But
it's almost halfway through the season.
Yeah, he's not an all-star this year. Last year,
but I'm just saying, it's like, all right, if you're a slow starter, but we're talking, it's pretty much almost halfway through the season. Like a slow starter is the first couple weeks, maybe the first month. Once you start going into the other two months of the first half, now we're just talking about slow starter, or you're having a bad year. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of guys end up going on some crazy type of tear at the end of the season, and sometimes you see their numbers at the end of the year kind of look like what their baseball card should look like, but that means you didn't help your team the whole. You know what I mean? You got to have some level of consistency. You can't just get hot at the end. And if the games don't matter.
Trey Turner and Semien a couple years ago, they just were bad all year and finally pulled it together, and the numbers look right at the end, but it was rough going for a while there.
Yeah, and I mean, but also, it depends on where your team is, and maybe that's when you finally need them. But when you talk about players to build around and stuff like that, you need somebody who's helping you win every day or every other day.
I'm looking at the Mariners starting pitchers right now, and these guys look good. I didn't realize you got 4 starters under a 4 ERA. Looking healthy.
Yeah.
George Kirby's maybe the worst of the 4. That's not bad.
Oops. That's the complaint with the Mariners, is that you have this almost historic pitching staff and you can't put any runs on the board. I mean, yesterday they're winning 2-1 against the Chicago White Sox. The day before, like 3-4. They just absolutely can't hit the ball. So it's kind of like you got to go out there and get somebody.
Yes.
I mean, but how does it feel though? Like, just finally being, because I know I got to witness Myron's first season with the Mariners are, actually worth talking about again. Like, I mean, and as a Yankee fan, I mean, I guess us missing the playoffs and the year before, we had Judge's home run record to care about, but the whole rest of the team fell apart and sucked. I mean, the more I think about it, it's just crazy. And Judge was leading off at the end of that year because the rest of the team was so bad, and he was still it kept his home run pace going. But like for us to miss the playoffs for a year, and also just generally feel like our team isn't good, for I'd say maybe like 1920 or at least 20, 21, 22, 23. So like for me, that feels like a long time. But how does it feel just like now you have, do you find yourself like watching more games or checking the scores more often or like, how do you normally watch the day games, like with work going on and everything?
I mean, when I can, I do check in a lot of times. So I do have kids, and one of the things that I like to do, like around bedtime, if there's a game on, they're not gonna say watch the whole thing, but I'll put it on. It's like we're winding down, and a lot of times I put on the Orioles now, and I'm excited to watch them. It's not like I'm just putting on my local stations of the Red Sox and Yankees or whatever and watching what's on. I'm actually seeking out the Orioles. I got the MLB TV hooked up, and I want to see these games because I'm excited to watch these good players that I've been hearing about forever. Ever since the Orioles started tanking to build this young core, you hear these names, these draft picks and everything. When you see Adley Rutschman, when he came to Hartford to play against the Yard Goats, the minor league team, I saw Adley Rutschman there. And I was like, this is the guy. He's going to be the guy. I saw him hit a home run at that game. And now I get to watch him every day. I make a point to do it when I can. It's exciting to be invested in this team again. And it's also like, I love that it is just these young homegrown guys. It's not like we're not doing it like the Dodgers where we're bringing in every name possible that you get to know them from the beginning, and it's exciting because everything they've done that's good has been with your team so far, and you feel like ownership of it. It's pretty great. It's exciting.
Oh, 100%. And you say Adley Rutschman, we out in Seattle, we love to just ooh and ah and talk about how great Cal Raleigh is, and he is, and he's clutch, and
Yep.
he comes through, most home runs, most runners thrown out, and we love him. But then would I like Adley Rutschman over him? Probably. That guy's nuts. Oregon State, Pacific Northwest college roots there, but those are two great catchers, two different styles of catchers. But Adley Rutschman is pretty goddamn amazing to fun to watch. Who would you say is your favorite Oriole to watch out of all these guys that has come up?
It has been Adley until this year. I feel like I can't not watch Gunnar Henderson do his thing.
Oh God.
I really, I can't believe I never saw him as a big power guy like this, and I'm surprised that he's putting up these numbers that he is. He's right up there with Judge, and it's amazing to watch. I don't know if it'll sustain or what, but it's really fun to watch. And I really still like watching Ryan Mountcastle, who has been like sort of that bridge from, also Mullins too. These guys have been bridges from when they were still struggling to bringing in these new guys. So whenever I see them play, I really like watching these guys do the thing that they do, because they had a rough go of it for a little while, and it's good to see them finally enjoying it too. So anytime any of those four guys get up, I'm excited to watch them play. It's hard to get invested in the pitching still, except I really liked watching Yennier Cano last year when he was going off, and I still like to see that guy do his thing. It'll be nice when we have our full bullpen back, but so those guys are still exciting for me.
What is your want right now, and what is the talk for the trade deadline? Is it pitching?
I haven't heard anything specifically. I'm not up on the rumors right now, but I feel like if we got a starting pitcher, that would be clutch. And I don't know if we really want to give up anything right now, but we do still have a ton of guys in the minors that we could easily go. I mean, that's what we did for Burns, and I'm so happy we have Burns now, because that guy is the linchpin of the whole thing right now. yes, we can hit, but to have a guy every 5 days who is lights out is amazing for us.
Before you go, Dan, I know you might have to go here soon. I told Vlad I got to talk about this because I was like, I'd love to get an Oriole perspective. I don't really know Orioles fans. Mariners, Orioles, and the Wayback Machine. I'm going to share this with you. When it comes to, I know the Orioles have classic fights going back into the 60s and 70s and stuff. As far as Mariners, maybe the most wild brawl we ever had, I gotta say, pound for pound, it's from 1993. It's comes from Mike Mussina hitting Bill Hasselman. But what is interesting about this fight? I'm gonna play this fight. Have you seen it before?
I don't remember it. No.
You'll see how many Yankees, Mariners, and Orioles that all swapped around later in the 90s in this fight. So here we go. Boom, Hasselman.
Ooh, right at him.
Also, here's a note about Hasselman. He was on the Angels when the coach during the Jesse Winker brawl that happened and got thrown out fighting against the Mariners.
Dude, you don't really see them go like in this fight. Everybody is on the ground immediately.
Yeah.
They're throwing punches. This is not.
Yeah, this is like usually it's just like a chase, and maybe somebody will end up falling and like maybe a pop. But like this is just like 10.
Fernando Vina,
10 guys on the ground.
There's Edgar. This one goes on here for a little bit. Let's.
Wow.
Boy, oh boy. You only hope that the pitcher and the catcher and everybody else involved isn't
hurt. You guys hear that?
Yeah.
Jay Player, look, and he's on the Orioles, and Griffey's got him. Jeff Nelson.
Now another brawl breaks out. Jay Buhner gets involved.
Henry Cotto.
Randy Johnson's involved as well with somebody else.
Buhner.
Oh boy, this is ugly.
Who was going to sign with the Orioles and pulled out last minute because Griffey talked to the Mariners about getting some money. A little Omar Vizquel.
This is awful.
Can you guys hear the game audio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now Tino Martinez and Elrod Hendricks are squaring off.
Yep, Tino Martinez in this fight. It's like a who's who of the 90s playoffs teams on different.
Oh, what year was this?
1993.
Now bodies fly again.
This might have there might be a connection there.
Look at that. Well, I'm going to pull this back just a second. Watch this forearm.
Watch this forearm
restored.
Right here. Now bodies
forearm
fly
to
again.
the throat. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, this is a shame.
Oh, this is a shame.
It really is a shame.
I think I have to turn this up because I think this is when he says, we have to get the authorities out here. Is Bonilla
So did Tino have something to do with this one?
Everybody did.
Because,
Arthur Rhodes must be on one of those teams, right?
Arthur Rhodes, yeah. Watch the.
And the 46,000
He was
fans
an
are
Oriole for a while,
rightfully
too.
booing.
Yeah,
Sutcliffe
there's
and Norm
Brett
Troughton
Boone.
are really screaming at each other. Everybody trying to
McDonald.
keep order in
Arthur
place.
Rhodes,
John
later
McLaren is
Mariner.
right in the middle of it too. Well, McLaren's trying to break it up.
Harold Reynolds.
Well, the
Randy
Yankees
Johnson,
Orioles big one was in
Sutcliffe now,
95.
nose to nose.
Segui, David Segui.
Yeah.
Had to be
Well,
96.
we may not be finished with this thing
Nor,
just yet.
David Segui was in
Tino
there.
Martinez
There's
was
angry
the reason.
folks wearing the visiting colors today in
David
Baltimore.
Segui on the Orioles, but then a Mariner.
And it really puts an ugly
Sasser.
blemish on a fine
Yeah,
pitching
Mickey
performance by Mike
Sasser.
Messina.
Never thought I'd hear that
Last
name
thing
on one of the
He wants
pods.
to do is hit somebody with a 5-1 lead.
Nick Sutcliffe.
Is that
Mike-
Johnny
Now
Oates right in the
more
middle of
words are
this, too?
spoken. Somebody charging in.
Pete O'Brien. I remember that piece of shit. Henry
This
Cotto.
is such
What you got to
chaos.
be careful of
Look
right
at-
here. You get in there,
I
someone's
don't know if
liable
you've
to
ever been
blindside you and take a
scuffle up of
a cheap
friends,
shot.
like,
Charlton
it's
still
hard to
wants
rein
somebody.
in or, like,
Charlton
get
still
into
wants to go after, I think,
communication when
Mill.
it's, like 3 on 4.
Trump.
Never
Oh,
mind.
and a punch is thrown by the Orioles. Now
30
it's
on
gotten
30.
ugly again. We might need to get the law enforcement folks down here to clean this up. This is unbelievable.
We might need to get the law enforcement down here, folks.
This
This
is
is a
awful.
good-
Now umpires
I mean, the
just throwing
Yankees
people
Orioles
out.
fights.
Yeah, there are going to be a
Pretty
lot of
damn
guys
good
who
too,
cut
but
you from
this-
this, and there's going to be a lot of fights.
This one's like
Keep in
an
mind,
under.
the coaches
People
are trying
know
to
that
break
fight.
that thing up as well as they can. Umpires doing the same, but you're just outnumbered.
What are the cops going to do?
Norm
Come out and start
Charlton is
tasing players?
Beside himself. So's Jay Buhner. More
Pinellas.
skirmishes back and forth.
This is just
What
oh,
is the
God.
seat view
This is just a regular
Shows the
day
view from your
at
seat.
the
So
walk in the
there's
park.
a pole
for Lou
blocking your
Piniella
view?
and,
Don't
Get
buy
this
it.
free publicity off here.
This is ugly. perhaps a sense
That
of the
guy's Henry
frustration
Cotto. He almost
that
looks
this Mariner
like
ball club has felt in the first 2 games here in Baltimore.
Mariano Rivera.
It has reached a boiling point.
Damn.
Norm Charlton,
Norm Charlton,
uniform
the sheriff.
shredded.
He
And
came
it's back
over
to the
to the
Seattle
Mariners
dugout.
from those Nasty Boys Reds teams. He was a
Well, hopefully that is the end of it. Hopefully.
And now the umpires finally able to separate the teams and get the players separated. We'll have to sort out and see who's been thrown out of the game. Certainly Hasselman will be.
So I think that was
But what
the
you have
end
to
of the
wonder,
fight
too,
right there.
And bang,
But
he gets hit
this
in
is
the shoulder.
again, this is what
And
happened.
Number 2 is the health and fight.
Lucina,
Time up.
boom,
And
up
bang,
and
he gets
in.
hit in the shoulder. And there he goes.
What
And
happened
that's
before
when
that?
the
Was this
melee
the
begins. Of course,
second
you
time
have to
you threw at
remember,
him? I can't believe
Bosio
he came
has
out so
thrown
hot.
2 pitches behind
Have a
2 of
history.
the Orioles hitters.
Yeah, I mean that's the catcher for the Mariners at the time, or the backup catcher. Yeah,
They'll give
like you said,
Hasselman a
Vlad, this
10 for
is
the
quick
takedown,
to the ground.
boys.
Look, swings right away.
Now the umpires are going to have to get
There
together.
was no breaking
and
up of the
determine
fight,
who is
right?
winning
There was
judges
no
in the
like,
game.
hey guys,
And
settle
with as
down.
many fights that broke out, I don't think we have enough guys
people
to
were
finish
coming
this
in
game or not.
Well, but I'm saying, like,
A lot of folks
if
were
you've
tossed
been
out of
in
this thing.
between a bunch of friends,
But there were punches thrown. We
you
are
know, at
certain of that.
at a bar fight with a bunch
If
of with a
Lucino
number of guys,
was
like,
throwing at
picture being
Hasselman
in
with a
between
5-1
30 of
lead.
your teammates and 30 guys on
Shame
the
on
other
him.
team.
But if
It's a
he's
miracle
throwing at
that
the
these
Mariners,
things, it
trying to
isn't like
protect
this
his
every
hitters, you
time.
can
But
understand that.
sometimes
I
guys
just
aren't
don't
really
think, Ron,
looking
that
to
Chris
fight
Bosio
anyway.
is trying to hit
So,
anybody. I don't think
Yeah,
he has that much control yet after coming back from his
I've
injury.
been in one
I
full
can understand
blown,
where somebody might get knocked down.
like
After
benches
all, they had
clearing
2
brawl
of the
when I was
Orioles
playing
had
ball,
balls thrown
and it
behind them.
it
And so I
ended
think that may have
sooner
got
because
the
you're in
attention
school where
of the,
you actually
of
have
the Orioles
adults
and Lucina.
that come out
And
there
so when
and
Hasselman
break
came
it
up
up.
to
You know,
plate
it
with 2
lasted
men
about
out,
2 minutes or whatever. But
you
you know,
are a
you're
candidate.
seniors in high school. It was in
And
the city championships in
take a
Seattle.
look from
And guess
center
what
field.
happened? We lost our
So they hit right on the shoulder.
starting catcher for the state tournament.
Plus the
You know,
fact
we
that
lost
we
Yeah.
have 2 guys in the
one of our
mound
relievers.
that had the
And
best
you have
control in the league last year. You
You're
had
not going to
Bosio
graduate.
walked
All right,
1.7,
all right, we're good.
and Lucina walked
cut that
1.8.
audio
There's
there.
the fight once again. So when you have a
So Lupinella was also an Oriole and a Yankee.
Wow.
Lupinella?
Yeah, he came up. This is a really interesting thing about Lupinella, I think. He came up when he was 20 years old and
That's
played
right.
4 games for the Orioles. He didn't play again in the pros for 4 more years.
Until he was a Seattle Pilot, and then until he was a Kansas City Royal, because he went to the Seattle Pilots and got traded to the Kansas City Royals. And the Kansas City Royals and the Pilots came into the league in 1969 together. And then from Kansas City, he went to the Yankees, and the rest is history.
Yeah,
That's
it's pretty
right.
wild that he was out of the league for that long, came up that early, and then he was Rookie of the Year when he came up too.
Yeah,
Pretty wild start to a career.
I didn't know any of this until I just read this book, which is actually a great segue for the next thing we're doing up here. I read the book by Jim Bouton called Ball 4, which is, classic book. I just read the final pitch version where it has all the stuff afterwards. And Lupinella is like at the beginning of the book when he's a rookie. Or no, he's not a rookie. He's trying to make the team and he doesn't. And then because of his who he is, like the manager of the Pilots did not like Lupinella just for exactly who Lupinella was. And then at the end of the book, he's talking about when he's throwing out the first pitch in Seattle in 2003, and Lupinella's there coaching the managing the Mariners in his final year. So, well, it looks like you guys are down 3-0, bottom 5 right now.
I already switched it to the Yankees.
Okay. You already switched it to the Yankees. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on, Dan.
Yeah,
And
thanks for having me. This was fun.
yeah, we're gonna this more
You got something to plug?
Yeah, anything to plug?
I want to plug Shohei Ohtani's Complete Innocence. I know this is gonna get Vlad going.
Okay.
I'm a big Shohei Ohtani stan. I believe in this dude 100%. Sorry, Vlad. I'm just gonna say it right here. All the conspiracies can just die. That's my man. He's good. He's good.
I believe in him as a player. I mean, he's the truth. I mean, I just don't. I don't buy it. I feel like when we're like in our 60s, it'll be safe to come out. Maybe.
Anytime somebody's story changes from literally within 24 hours, come on.
Suspect. Yeah.
I got a text from Vlad that said that he literally lost his voice yelling. Would you yell at the game you're a cheater?
I kept saying, Ohtani's a degenerate gambler. Every time he was up. I mean, honestly, I swear, like, even though it's like a horrible thing, and like if it would happen, and like to be honest, I'm also okay with them just being like, hey, and I feel like it could only be covered up for him because he can hide behind this, like, I'm weird, I don't know English. Like, he can hide behind all these things that nobody else could hide behind whatsoever. And I mean, look, if it's something that if it was a mistake. He's too huge right now, and like he just signed a $700 million deal. And, like if it's a wake up call for him, and like for baseball to be like, we don't need this shit, I'm okay with that. I'm just from the sidelines gonna scream, Ohtani's a degenerate gambler. I mean, like I don't, I think there should be a certain amount of steroids that you're allowed to do. You know what I mean? Like. I understand why things are covered up now in my old age. Like, I mean, come on, that was fun back then, right?
Yeah, it was wild. It got me back into
Rafael
baseball.
Palmeiro.
Yeah.
All these guys, like,
Brady Anderson, probably,
guys.
Right?
Go ahead.
Even from a fantasy perspective, like in the early 2000s, every team had power corner outfielders. You know what I mean? Like there was just so many good players, and now playing fantasy, when you're looking like, man, it gets gross quick. You know what I mean? Like, there's just like the production isn't there, and it's just like So I could see looking back now, like once they saw these guys juicing up. I mean, the movies had you know what I mean? Like it was just wrestling was getting bigger and cooler, and action stars were getting huge. You're like, they were like, well, screw it. I mean, look at these guys, they're slugging home runs. It was just like a problem for another day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And look, the steroids came in. I mean, they were around, but the most talked about steroid era came around when baseball needed eyes on the product after the lockout. Not a lockout.
Strike.
Cancellation strike. I mean, 1994, what a fucking disgrace, right? Like you what a season. And if you go back and look at that season, there are so many great storylines going on. I mean,
the Expos, what could have been?
Expos, Griffey.
There could still be baseball in Montreal right now if that year didn't go that way.
And that was a fucking squad.
Guerrero, Pedro.
Yeah.
Chris Galarraga.
A lot.
I mean, basically half of the fucking Colorado Rockies that we.
Yeah, I know. I know the names. I just can't.
They cleaned up on Montreal. But thanks a lot, Dan.
Yeah,
and
I'll see you later.
We're gonna go
tomorrow.
And we're gonna go to one of our famous smoke breaks. What's so fun about Dive Bar podcast is there's also like a lot of people that come over and talk to you and tell you their stories. And there's a couple of ladies over here. I'd say they were in their 60s. They come over, they're asking what the hell we're doing and why we're in their dive bar. Says, what's this about? And I'm like, all right, it's the Mariners podcast. She goes, me and my ex-husband used to have season tickets back in the Kingdom. And I'm like, all right, that's nice. She goes, you want to hear a story? My ex-husband, caught Ken Griffey Jr.'s, and we got to fact check this. She says it was his 100th home run in Major League Baseball. That somebody puts a sticker on his ball. The Mariners wanted the ball, and I guess they're lawyers, so they're like, oh, no. That's not how it happens. They took it down to their law offices, and they kept it in a safe. But then the death threats started coming in.
Okay, so before we get to that, where did they catch it? In right center field in the bleachers above the big blue wall?
I didn't ask because she immediately went into the death threats. Went from the death threats to, anyways, we went down there, sorted that out, and we got a picture.
So the Mariners were sending death threats?
I don't know. I don't know who was sending the death threats, but she said they sorted it out.
So you got here at what time? About 6:30?
And this story was already lambasted into me by 6:32.
So they were feeling good.
Apparently. Do we got is John from Wallingford hopping on the hotline?
No, I think he's burning us.
He's burning us because the Yankees game's going on. So we're always sending each other some fun stuff on Instagram. I do want to talk about something and pull up some stuff about what's your feeling on the whole Angel Hernandez thing, because we didn't really touch on that last time we talked.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. He's been getting a lot of heat, and supposedly their union's pretty untouchable. You know what I mean? These guys don't apologize for shit. Like, even in this new video era, and I don't know. I would love to know what happened. I don't know if we'll ever know. Was he forced to retire? Was he sick of it? Was he just finally having a moment of like, man, I'm terrible at this? Or, was he that bad? His strike zone was just crazy at times and with no remorse. It just kind of, maybe it seems more a big profile than it is. But isn't it kind of weird that, a third into the season he retires?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we're in this era too that really exposed how terrible he really was.
But it also was like he was just getting worse by the week, like, and then sometimes they you just see like this potential spiteful calls and stuff like that. Like all it takes is John Boy or somebody to stitch it all together, and he just had a lot of heat on him from social media, anyways.
Are you a fan of these umpire scorecards, or do you think that's just being a little bit too much outside of Angel Hernandez, which I think anybody that just is watching?
What do you mean, like how good was their strike zone?
Yeah, do you like those?
Like judging them?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it kind of what we do for everybody? Every single guy we see, he went 0 for 3 with a walk. You know what I mean? We're keeping track of everything else. But, I mean, I don't know. I feel like most guys are good, and there'll be a call here or there that's bad. But, like, the guys who are just having terrible games where, you got managers and players arguing with them because they're so bad. Sometimes some of these guys got both managers are fed up with them during the game. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, sure, it's fun when the opposing team in a big spot strikes out looking on a pitch that was nowhere near the strike zone and you're happy. But for me, with my team, I'll take fair calls over the bullshit call that goes your way every once in a while.
So you're still pro the automatic strike zone coming in.
Yeah, I mean, because look, we could all see what's going on, and like, and just as a homer, Judge's strike zone. I mean, there's nothing scares me and him more than that outside slider that's nowhere near the bottom corner or below his knees still gets called frequently. So, or the Jeffrey Mayer call, like, you know what I mean? Like, it should have been, sure, like, it helped us that year and it was a big thing, but in reality, like, you want to see the right calls being made.
No, and I get it. Angel Hernandez kind of felt like the evil WWE referee, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like if you piss him off, but also if you don't let him do his buffoonery in the Monday night game, let's say, then as they rotate, the next guy is going to be giving you shit from the, you know what I mean? It's just like it's more about, it's not just about the game he called behind the plate. It's about how disrespectful the players or teams or fans were to them, where now that whole crew is protecting each other. So, and it just, it's just like sometimes, I'm not like some umpire hater, but sometimes they feel like they wield too much control and like, kind of like mafia guys, like, hey, if you talk shit, you know what this is gonna mean, right? Like what? That's not how it's supposed to be. Like, oh well, we're not gonna give you the calls for the rest of the like. Wait, what the hell's going on? Can't be that. It can't be mafia shit.
No, I hear you. But as far as Angel Hernandez, I want to show you this Will to Thrill. Will Clark's got a classic story. Maybe this will shed some light on how Angel Hernandez operated. This is off of the No Filter Instagram. Will Clark's got a show on there, Deuce is Wild. But this is his experience. Let me know if you can hear the volume, because that's obviously, since we're a story. I'm gonna click on it. Here we go.
Right. He calls some bullshit call, and I'm always never gonna show up an umpire, and I go, Angel, I said, is that as far as he can go out there? He goes, yeah. And the next pitch is about 6 more inches off the plate, and he fucking rings me up. And I turned around to him. I go, Angel, you just told me that was as far as he could go out there. He goes, well, that ball moved on me with there, Will. And I go, okay, all right. So I didn't say anything. I fucking took the strikeout, went back to the bench. Later that night, I saw freaking Angel Hernandez. He's out with, I don't know whether it was the rest of the umpiring crew. I watched him, and he had like 2 or 3 beers. And so I got the waitress over, and I'm like, hey, I want to pay for those guys' beers over there. She said, hey, look, that guy over there wants to pay for your beers. And Angel looked right at me. So I got up and I walked over there. I go, hey, man. I said, I'll see you at the ballpark tomorrow. He goes, you're not going to say anything else to me? I go, no. I said, I'll see you at the ballpark tomorrow. Have a good one. He goes, man, thanks so much for the beers. I was like, all right, no problem. The rest of my career, every time I had Angel Hernandez behind home plate, my strike zone was fucking that big right there. All because of $20 worth of beer. There you go.
As much as I love this story, that's also the reason why he was so dog shit.
So,
so I thought that was an interesting.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like if you show them up, or even if you don't, it's just like now it's causing effect to everybody's at bat for the whole rest of that series, maybe forever. And that's just. That's when they get out of control.
And we're running out of time here on this, but we did get a couple of videos sent to us. So here's a jump on the thing of the Mariners. You got to do something. You guys got how many World Series? 27, 28. We got 0.
27.
We've never ever been there. And here's a fact. Now this stat is off by 1, but this will give you I'll have to this will definitely bring things to the forefront of the desperation. And for me, it's kind of like, hey, if we can get to the World Series, win a World Series this year or next year, and then the franchise goes into ruins, I don't care. As soon as the Mariners win a World Series, I will continue to do the Rye Bread podcast until we can't defend the title, until the downfall of this window. That's my plan with the podcast. And the sooner that happens, the sooner that frees me up to do other things. That's such a terrible fucking endorsement of the pod. But let me show you this one that was sent to me, that this kind of brings it into fruition. Here we go.
They've experienced more ruptured testicles, 5 of them, than they have playoff appearances, 4 of them. What the? All right, I don't know if y'all are ready for this one, but in the Mariners' 44 years of existence, they've experienced more ruptured testicles, 5 of them, than they have playoff appearances, 4 of them.
Well, there you go. It's actually off by off by a playoff appearance. It's actually 5-5. So the Mariners have had 5 ruptured testicles. I think Mitch Haniger's got half of them himself. But
Damn.
is it true? That's how. Just around as many ruptured testicles. Adrian Beltre as well. I know those two account for like 3 or 4 of them. But
Well, you guys have a window though. Like, like your pitching staff and, just locking up Castillo and, you guys have more of a window. So it's like, see what happens this year. I would say what you guys could add that makes sense. I mean, to spend a lot on a 1-year rental, just let's see how you guys look compared to everybody else at the end to make that type of decision. But in reality, for you guys, it's about the trade market and a free agent. Like, let me see you guys grab somebody like a serious hitter and then add to that. Like, to do it in midseason, you know.
I do have to. Mariners fans do have to remember too. Like, I'm agree. Like, hey, we usually just don't go out and grab a just defining, maybe future Hall of Famer, all-star, top tier offensive talent at the break. 2 years ago, they got Luis Castillo, and you guys wanted him. That was a big difference.
And you guys were dangerous down the stretch.
Yeah, very dangerous. And you want to see that. You just want to see that from the offensive end. And on top of that, they added
the right fit.
Yeah, they added some smaller pieces. We had Carlos Santana, which was a low risk.
He's on a tear right now.
Yeah, he was a low risk, high reward guy. Great locker room dude. But we're looking for that big offensive piece. I think you need that offensive piece because you still are trying to replace Teoscar Hernandez's production. They wanted less strikeouts. Well, we got more strikeouts, but that was like the big no on him. Not too great at defense. He's about the same as Mitch Haniger. Mitch Haniger, great team leader. He looks right in a Mariners uniform. Great to have him back, but he also could DH sometimes and be a rotational outfielder. Have no problem with trading Robbie Ray for him. That's fine. I don't even think about Robbie Ray. But Teoscar Hernandez last year still hit mid-20s in the home runs, almost hit 100 RBIs. I mean, this year he's off to 16 and he's 50 RBIs. Yeah, the strikeouts are going to be there, but you're still replacing that. So I do feel like you got to get the stud and you probably got to bring in another bat. Like you said, 2 bats. Like,
you see when
somebody's solid.
Well, when you have a guy like that batting 5th, you live with the strikeout. You know what I mean? Like, that's a spot where that's normal. You know what I mean? But like when you have that guy batting 3rd, you're going to do what you got to do. But, it's just all about, the lineup's more, it's not really about 1 or 2 people, generally speaking. But also like you guys, I mean, if you guys were better earlier, I mean, think of all the generational talent that's been available over, let's say, the past 4 or 5 years. Ohtani this past year, Judge the year before, Harper. I guess I don't know if we'd put Trey Turner in there, but there's been a lot of really good Seager.
All right.
I don't know if you put them in like generational, but in terms of like impact bats.
Yeah, so, you need somebody like that, and you're gonna have to pay for it. And it's like the thing is, you're losing this prospect, but you're gaining this in the window that you're in. Like about somebody that's gonna come up next year or 2 years. Well, is Luis Castillo still gonna be the same guy in 2 years? I mean, we only have a couple more years on this contract, and he's 31. In a couple of years he's gonna be 33. And not to say that I mean, he's a smart enough pitcher that he might be like a Verlander or Scherzer where he can just adapt. And I definitely could see that. You're still gonna have Kirby, you still don't know if you're gonna have Logan. Like, now is the time to go, okay, well, we're gonna part with somebody, and maybe 6 years down the road you're like, damn, we gave away a good one, but look at the window you're in. That's the argument.
and also just the injury window. Like
Yeah.
anybody, especially any pitcher, could get hurt for any day of the week.
Or another one of your offensive players, and then you're really fucked. Ty France is hurt right now. You don't have him in the lineup. Ty Frog, yeah, but the guy's the best, highest batting average when runners in scoring position on the Mariners. He's not your typical first baseman. That's he's not a Pete Alonso, that's for sure. But I mean, he's and he finds holes, man. I mean, this is a guy that played for Tony Gwynn down at San Diego State, one of his last pupils. And Ty France not the best base runner on him, but plays a solid first base also, and he's pretty clutch. He's a clutch guy. For all the other numbers you don't get from him, you get that clutch, and you can't teach that. Well, we're just right about at our time that we said we were going to do this, and you know what that means, Vlad. We got to crank your fucking tune again that you already hate. You hate.
And I just want to no. I'm just kidding. But also, I just want to say I'm now losing all 3 games of the parlay. Actually, cut that part out.
So Vlad's Wake and Bake Pop Parlay, Orioles, Nationals, Yankees. Hey, you're losing it right now, but you can always double down and take some live in bets. You know what? This was a good, fun Wake and Bake baseball. We evolved from the last show. It's fun. We'll try to figure out the Instagram thing. We'll get on both of our own personal Instagrams next week. But we will be back. Rain, sleet, snow, waking and baking next Thursday, 10 a.m. to noon Pacific. But hey, if you sleep in out on the East Coast, it's a wake and bake. And yes, doesn't matter what kind of baking you're doing. You can just
good night.
Bake with us. All right. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and all of that good shit. And also, if you're checking this out through the Rye Bread and Mustard Mariners podcast, we will be back Sunday night / Friday morning with your YouTube / podcast. But this is probably going to be today's podcast because I'm just going to add something in at the end because I think we had a good episode today. What do you think, Vlad? I agree. All right. With that being said, we'll see you next week.